Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia for today. We're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7 out today. Got some more Backseat battling for you guys. So, look in here, I entered a room called Beans, because why would you not? And on the left side, we have a guy named RJ New, and on the right we have Crow Maid. Well, this looks like a pretty nice little matchup here. On the left side you see Karina, Zahak, Rimuru, and Kieran as DPSs. On the right, a bit more tanky with the A Ravi, but you also have some neat picks with the Ice Coley, Imprint with the Watcher Shuri, and Elfelt as an opener. Alright, well then, Elfelt is going to be taking the first turn. She is protected by Guiding Light. Not that she really has any competition, no one hot on her heels here. So, she is going to be pretty good counter into Rimuru. Very smart play. And we see the sleep and the defense break both landing. She's gonna, oh, it's a DPS build too. She is going to attack the Zahak, kind of soften him up a little bit. Coley's gonna go for the S3 onto the Kairon. Is gonna land the bomb and the bleeds. Uh-oh. Is this gonna be able to proc it? I think so, yeah, there we go. That's the skill to detonate. Coley actually ignores the resist of fire units, so that's very impressive. Zahak, though, unfortunately able to cleanse the Kairon. Now, the good thing is that Kairon's immortality was procced, so it is okay. After he takes his next turn, he will be able to finish him off there. Ravi's taking the turn now. Rimuru has a 2-turn sleep and defense break, so Ravi's just gonna go straight for him with the S3, but no! That is a degen Rimuru, 20k damage into that Rimuru, and he still didn't go down. Oh no, Karina's gonna slam her S3 into the APOC Ravi, and that is gonna be brutal. You'd think that there would have been a pretty good chance at a comeback if that kill had landed. But these cheeky little builds from RJ New. Yeah, Kairon's going to extend the duration of his immortality by another turn. Rimuru is going to be able to pop that S3 probably into that Ravi there, yeah. Steal that attack buff, deal even more damage afterwards, and now it is just a Coley left. So that was quite unfortunate. Degen Rimuru ending up winning the match, I would say. If Rimuru had gone down, a Ravi would have been able to revive, and maybe the Watcher Shuri probably could have finished off the Karina. It made it a bit more of an even playing field, although the Kairon was still a little bit of a menace to deal with. Alright, so we have another match starting. Apparently it's a King of the Hill style in this mock room too, which I'm not complaining about. We have RJ on the left, and we have CD on the right. And both of them represent the global server. RJ from the guild Celsius, CD from the guild Rosethorn. Kind of like both names, actually. They're quite nice. I like the rose symbol, too, on the guild name Rosethorn. Nice little touch. CD gets the first pick, so Spectre Tenebria getting snatched up. We have Aola on the left, and Destina is also going to get picked up. So we have two supporting units right off the bat. We have a cleanser and a debuffer, a very notorious one at that too. Right, so let's see what the response to this is going to be. We haven't seen any direct counters to the Spectre though. RJ is kind of picking stuff that's more or less safe. Bulky units and supporting units. Normally when you see Spectre's Tenebrias come out, you typically see people pivot either really fast, because Spectre teams have a hard time pivoting into something that counters aggression or cleave. And we see that Spectre Tenebria is going to be met with partners of Meteor Cowrick and Christie. Okay, I kind of like that. Christie got buffed recently, so she actually pushes up the combat readiness of herself and the person in the backline, which is pretty good for helping them take turns, your main DPSs. And of course she's famous for applying half of her resistance to the person in the backline too. So if you have a 300 resist Christie, the person in the backline gets a free 150 resist. which is great for stopping most debuffs. Okay, we have Bellion getting picked out too as a direct counter to the Spectre Tenebri now. That was kind of what I was saying earlier. People either meet Spectre with a bunch of aggression and damage, or when you're tanking down, you pick something like Bellion. Bellion is great because she stops the souls of Spectre, and all of her hits are AoE, which means she can hit her no matter what. Briarwitch Iceria also getting snatched up here, which is pretty decent given that Aeola is a mage. If she's holding Book, then Briarwitch can Soul Burn and strip all of ML Cowrick's buffs that he applies to the team. She ignores Res and can apply Unbuffable and Defense Break. So she can easily bypass Christie's entire mechanic with a single Soul Burn. We do see, oh, and I love this, we do see Ed getting snatched up and an ML Ken. So ML Ken is great because every time he's crit, he will counterattack and crit in return. Kind of interesting to see because he's a decent unit into units like Bellion, and it makes it so that's very dangerous for units like Briarwitch to go for an S3, because if she crits the ML Ken, then he's gonna probably proc her immortality, and also if she hits Ed, he's gonna counter and use his equivalent exchange. So either way, Briarwitch is looking like a pretty tough pick here, and probably is not going to be the target of a ban. I can see Landy getting banned here, because she is pretty good against ML Cowrick's buffs, has AoE to hit the Spectre, and can't be countered, right? So it kind of hurts the ML Ken as well. So let's see what the bans are going to be. I would say the Landy and the... Oh! Okay, Spectre is the one getting banned out. That's quite interesting. And Briarwitch is the one that gets banned too, leaving Landy in the match, and she has a pretty decent matchup against everybody here because Cowrick has buffs, ML Ken can't counter, Ed, even though Ed has elemental advantage, the problem is that Landy doesn't have debuffs, right? But we're going to see the Ed get pushed up by the ML Cowrick. He's going to really quickly rip his S3 into the Landy. That is a very tanky Landy, probably built you know, on a bulkier side, a little slower side, as you can kind of tell here. And probably going to be used, maybe she's on Bloodstone, that's typically what she has if she's not on Guiding Light. Aeola, for some reason, went for the ML Ken hit, accidentally crit there, and unfortunately, the ML Ken took down half of her health. Now, Landy does have Bloodstone, she's healing up the Aeola, but the problem is, he Soul Burned the Landy, but, oh, look at that! Soul Burned the Landy, but was not able to really capitalize off of it, because there's no buffs on the opponent's team, but Bellion, maybe this was all calculated, had the dual attack with the Landy, and hit the ML Ken, who did quite a bit of damage. ML Ken hitting the Landy though, proccing the counter, she gets to heal up a bit more. Bellion gonna be able to finish off one of CD's units, and in return, the ML Ken just takes the Bellion out. Landy's gonna go down, unfortunately, due to another dual attack. And then ML Cowrick is gonna keep hitting this Aeola to kind of push up the ML Ken. Aeola is gonna rip her S3, which is gonna be a little dangerous with that Ed over there, because if you hit Ed while he's debuffed, he is going to be proccing equivalent exchange. Now, Destina probably should not be reviving here, goes for it anyway, because you can see on the combat readiness meter, the ML Ken and the ML Cowrick are both hot on RJ's heels. So yeah, with the revive coming out, ML Ken is going to be able to rip that S3 and absolutely demolish the Landy and Bellion, send them back to the Shadow Realm, and ending this match. Well played, and honestly, a really nice little ML Ken tech. Alright, so we have another match going on. We have JXZO going up against CD here. I'll be referring to them as J. So let's see how this plays out. We got pre-bans coming out. Aeola and C. Lilius pre-banned on the left. Pretty common nowadays. And we see Karina and Zaha getting pre-banned on the right. Okay. quite interesting because those are two units that kind of have different playstyles. Zahak's used more in aggro and cleave type of teams, and Karina's used more in standard and as an anti-cleave type unit. ML Carrick's gonna get snatched up on the left side, not fully awakened, but that is quite alright because he still gets his job done. Spectre Tenebria and Judge Kisei getting picked up on the right side. I love these random underused ML5s coming out from CD's side. We see it met with an Apoc Ravi and a Meru though. Meru's quite dangerous into this Judge Kisei because the AoE can proc magic for friends, which is Meru's artifact. And yeah, Meru can do a ton of AoE damage to that Spectre as well. Arwell, Spirit Eye Celine, and ML Ken getting snatched up on the right side. More ML units filling the roster while we have Landy and Yolha picked up on the left. So some damage mitigation and some uncounterable S3s on Landy's part. Let's see. Both players are in champions. We should be on pretty equal fighting terms. Let's see what happens here. Okay, getting into the match, we see... Oh, actually, the A-Ravi's on Draco Play. That's one of the artifacts I managed to catch there. I didn't really get to see everything. Landy is on Guiding Light, and Meru is on Magic for Friends, I believe. There we go. Look at that. What I said earlier, the Magic for Friends proccing pretty good damage in on that Spectre, although Meru wasn't attack buffed, so I guess it's better to proc it earlier than it is later. Arwell gonna go. Only 20k HP on this Arwell in total. That's a little strange, but we see the S3 coming out, and I actually didn't catch if it stunned anything or not. I think it did. It stunned the Landy, right? Because she lost a turn. So Spectre now gets to go. She's going to rip that S3 into the Meru. That's a pretty tanky Meru, too. She is going to be stunned, so she can't really do much now. But Yolha is going to be attacking the ML Ken, who resisted. Most Kens are built with resist so that they don't get control. Oh, and the Kisei going in for the S2, waking up the Meru, who does counter, but she is blind. Now the blind might be a little counterintuitive here because ML Ken does require getting crit. Although I do have to say that's a pretty tanky ML Ken, 22k HP. Ripping that S3, taking out the Meru, who's going to revive due to her artifact, and now A-Ravi is going to go for the Judge Kisei. She is defense broken, which is very scary, but we do see Landy push up here with the S3 in a full burst. That's a lot of damage, but it wasn't even enough to break the Spectre Tenebria's barrier. Yolha not going for the S3 here, just holding on to it, which might be really dangerous, given that Spectre has a soul burn. Gonna take out the Landy, hit the A-Ravi too, who's defense broken. And this might go for the Meru, yes indeed. The target was Meru. A-Ravi is really hurt, but at least she'll be able to take out the Arwell here and loses the defense break, which is quite nice. Alright, Yolha's gonna pop off and get the proc with her S2. She got hit below threshold. Judge Kisei actually got annihilated by Yolha's passive. That does reflect damage. Meru's gonna rip that S3. Oh, ML Ken's definitely gonna be punishing that, healing up quite a bit. Now, Yolha probably saved the S3 here to go for the ML Ken kill. Yes, indeed. And even though the ML Ken had 22k health, the Yolha had just enough damage taken that she can rip it into him. And now the A-Ravi versus the Spectre Tenebria. A-Ravi has an attack buff. She does have their S3, and look at that. The S3 is going to take out that Spectre Tenebria and revive the Meru. Well played. That is pretty decent planning on the side of Jay on the left. Calculating the Yolha's health and then ripping it into the ML Ken. Oh boy, look what we have here. We got a little treat. 2027 on the left, representing the guild Veritas, one of the top guilds in the global server. Rank 45th in Legend. And on the right side, we have Zell. So let's see what we got here. Zell representing the guild Grand Blue from the European server. And the Grand Blue Guild actually has a pretty nice looking crest in the back too, so hopefully this is going to be a pretty good match, even though, you know, one of the players is Legend. But it's quite a treat to see a Legend player in mock battle rooms. Alright, we got Bagcat Armin as a first pick on the right. This looks like a pretty fun match. We got Fire Lilius and FCC picked out on the left, though. We're gonna see, are we gonna see triple Armins come out? We got Crimson Armin on the right side, although the pre-ban was Green Armin, which is a little strange. Green Armin's not allowed, but Crimson Armin and Bagcat Armin, though, they're a-okay. We see ML Cowrick was also one of the pre-bans, and 2027 just banning 2 random 3-stars. So let's see what Zell goes for as the third pick. LQC coming out. Okay, there's no CR push or attack buffer on the right side, but hey, this LQC might be the frontline unit for Bagcat Armin to proc some counters with. That would be fun to see. And on the left, in retaliation, we're going to see a Carrot getting hovered over, maybe a Rimuru. They're thinking through what they want, because both teams right now are looking pretty tanky. Crimson Armin has a lot of damage mitigation in her kit, LQC has some built-in mitigation, FCC has her barriers, and not to mention that we just have 2 knights sitting there casually on the left. Milim is going to get picked out, which is not bad. Her S3 actually does ignore damage share, which means if she goes for something like LQC, then Crimson Armin, if she's wearing something like an Aureus, won't be able to absorb any of that damage. Vivian's also getting picked out, so an attack buffer and an AoE damage dealer, which isn't too shabby, although I'm quite curious as to what she's going to do aside from buffing. The immunity is going to be great, though, because the Bagcat Armin then cannot provoke the entire team. Solitaria is going to come out along with Yuna. I wonder if this is a counter Yuna or a speed Yuna. Both are quite viable builds. Yuna is great for dealing AoE damage and for pushing up her team. Last pick on 2027's side is going to be Kisei, and she is going to be great for resetting a unit as well as stealthing, because we see LQC is mainly a single target damage dealer. So Kisei is going to get banned out. She was the highest burst potential on that team right there. And Solitaria also kicks the bucket, because there's no real cleanser on the left aside from Fire Lilius, but if Fire Lilius is one that gets controlled, it could be a problem. Right, Bagcat Armin gonna start off with an S3. Unfortunately missing on the Milim. That is very sad, because Milim actually has a 20% chance to evade at the start of the battle with her Milim's eye buff. And the fact that she's able to soul burn, get the attack buff, and take this turn means that LQC could be going down. But not quite. 8,000 damage in, the LQC is just hanging in there. Still above half her health. Quite a tanky LQC. And now we see the Fire Lilius going into the LQC as well. Oh my god, pushing her up. She got 6 Hellcutter stacks. No attack buff though. It is an almost 18k HP LQC build. Not gonna go for the S3, which is kind of strange, seeing as the Milim could potentially cut the LQC and it'll cause a bit of an issue. Yuna, though, getting that counterattack, dispelling the skill null, which is pretty nice. With her S1, she does actually push up the team. We're going to see her buff, though. There we go. Got that attack and speed buff on the LQC. I see. They're holding on to the LQC so that she can do a big old bonk on this next turn. So Crimson Armin able to put up the invincibility, along with replenishing some immunity on everybody on the team, which is quite nice. This keeps LQC safe, and she essentially becomes a ticking time bomb with that Hellcutter stack continuously going up. So now there's nothing really that the opponent can do here. Vivian's probably going to go for an S1, gain some combat readiness, try and turn cycle and get ready for the next hit. But we're going to see LQC coming in. She's going to go for the S3. Target is probably going to be FCC. There we go, because it's a dark unit dealing extra damage. Look at that Milim and her health. Wow. And LQC actually healed up quite a bit too, but unfortunately, Milim dual attack with the Lilius, able to proc a Wahaha, the extra attack in her passive, and deal a considerable amount here too. Now, the problem is LQC is super low and might not be able to see another turn. Yuna is going to be able to take this one though, and she is going to go for the S1. FCC does go down, gets cleaned up. LQC might be able to turn Psycho into another turn with that speed buff of hers. Backhand Armin going to go for the AoE. Vivian though cuts, and this might not be good. Ooh, and just barely the Vivian was able to take out the LQC with her S2, flushing her down the drain. We see Yuna taking the next turn here. She was able to counter with Backhand Armin, and now she has an S3 of her own, which will always crit, by the way. So ripping that S3, will it hit the Vivian? And it doesn't, but look at the enormous amount of damage dealt to the Fire Lily as Yuna going to be able to take another turn. She's going to be soul burning to do another S1. And wow, it is just going to be Vivian standing. So we have Backhand Armin going yet again with the S3. You'll love to see it. And going to be dealing quite a bit of damage to Vivian, taking her out. Wow, I did not expect this turn of events. I know both players weren't drafting 100% seriously, but Zell definitely came prepared with a super fun team. Alright, and we have another match underway. Alex on the left side going up against Zell, who just took out 2027. Both players representing... Oh, never mind. Sorry about that. Alex representing the global server, and Zell representing the European server. Now, Alex isn't champion, but we can tell by how Zell played in the previous match that they might not be actually unranked. You can actually tell by the frame that they have that they've played RTA before and finished pretty decently. So Alex goes for the Arwell here, along with a Politis. Zell going for their comfort picks, I guess. Both Armins getting picked out. I still love the fact that they pre-banned the green Armin, going for a little bit of a funny statement here. So LQC getting snatched up on the left, taken away from Zell. Uh-oh, we saw LQC hang on in there in the last match very nicely. But with this pick being taken away, what will we see instead? Zell's going to be thinking quite a bit. We might see some variation to their draft. See if they have anything fun up their sleeves. Apoc Ravi getting hovered over, a little strange, into an LQC, because LQC tends to do quite well against dark units. But we see them shift over to a Landy. I'd be curious to know if this is a speed Landy or a counter Landy, because a bulky counter Landy might synergize quite well with Backhand Armin. So Landy is going to get snatched up here, actually, despite there being a Politis on the other side. And Solitaria is going to be the fourth pick. There's no cleansers on Alex's team, so Zell is banking on Solitaria either getting countered here in the last two picks or getting force banned. Ed is getting snatched up, but that doesn't mean that Solitaria is going to be let through, because if Zell bans the Ed, then Alex is still going to be in trouble. That's the thing with drafting, right? You got to be very careful in who you pick and counter pick with. So we see the Aiden getting picked up, Light Aiden, as the last pick there. And Zell has one more unit to go for. We're going to see the Yuna again. Yes, we are. Okay, so the only variation to this draft was LQC was replaced by a Landy. Last match, we did not see Solitaria get through the draft, though. So let's see what happens this time around. Got 15 seconds left for players to make their choices. I would think that Solitaria still gets pre-banned, or sorry, still gets post-banned here. And on Alex's side, I can definitely see Politis getting banned. Yeah, there we go, actually. But, okay, instead of the Solitaria ban, which I thought was going to happen, and maybe Zell was banking on that too, Solitaria actually makes it through, and Ed on the other side staring her down. This could be quite detrimental. Okay, so we see the Bad Cat Armin taking the first turn. She's actually quite fast. Let's see what she goes for here. Goes for the S3. Gotta be careful not to hit the Ed. We see a provoke on the Arwell. Okay, and Solitaria is going to be going now. Yuna's still in the front lines, so she's going to be countering with the Bad Cat Armin, which is going to be pretty nice. The Solitary is going to go for the S3. Can't go for an S1, otherwise Ed will probably counter because he's going to get debuffed. LQC is going to get stunned and pushed back, which is a little unfortunate. She's not going to be taking the turn anytime soon. Ed is going to take this turn though, and he's going to have a little bit of trouble bursting through the Yuna and friends. Opting to go for the Crimson Armin, who's the damage mitigator for the team, and you can see not a ton of damage coming out. Counterattack from the Yuna though, look at that. Pretty nice, she has that crit damage buff, and that crit damage buff can actually help her quite a bit with her S3 because it, well, while it always crits, Yuna doesn't have to be built with a bunch of crit chance. So, Yuna opting to go ahead and buff the team. Crimson Armin as well, protecting everybody from the incoming Aiden and the Ed that's about to rotate around. Okay, Aiden has pretty low health, but with that nice healthy barrier on her, she probably isn't going to be going down anytime soon. Yuna with a nice little counterattack from the Aiden hitting her. Now, if you're attacking a team that has invincibility, you want to attack units that aren't built on counter, and you want to try to avoid units that give potential benefits for the opponent. So in this case, it probably would have been safer to attack the Crimson Armin rather than the Yuna. But Alex might not have known that Yuna herself was also on counter, and probably just thought that Yuna was attacking because the Bad Cat Armin was hit. Right, that was a great timing actually to go for the Bad Cat Armin's S1. Not that they really had a choice, but it just worked out perfectly that the Crimson Armin's invincibility was still up. So we see the stun coming in on the Aiden, a lot of debuffs getting landed. Ed is going to counter, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Ed is going to cycle out of his last debuff here. The rest of the team is still pretty riddled with their stuns and provokes and speed downs. We're going to see Yuna, though, have the opportunity to have her S3 go off. Now, there's no crit damage buff, unfortunately, but you can see that crazy look inside of her eyes right there, inside of her little avatar. And there we go. The S3 is coming out. She's flying up, and she's going to let it rip. How much damage is this going to do? Ooh, quite a bit of damage onto the Arwell with the Escort buff, mitigating a lot of the damage for the team, to be fair. Wow, that was a lot of damage coming out. And we see Ed is getting chipped down along with the LQC. Aiden barely holding on there in the back line. Even with evasion, now she's entering the kind of danger zone. Solitaria gonna take another turn, going, oh, nice little stun on the Aiden. Pretty lucky there. Ed is going to get that equivalent exchange. Will he heal up with the Sigurd Scythe? Yes, he will. LQC is probably going to be going down because, yeah, this Bad Cat Armin can't help it but to AoE. Aiden also doesn't stand much of a chance. She's pretty much one hit away from going down as well. And this Ed, even though the Solitaria is on the other side, don't think is able to do enough here. Bad Cat Armin getting hit, which means Yuna's going to counter. She has that crit damage buff. And is she going to just finish off this Ed right here? Ooh, not quite. That soul burn was not enough. However, Crimson Armin, no, the equivalent exchange. Ed's still holding on. He's healing up a little bit more. Solitaria is going to go. He just countered already, so although he can cleanse with his passive, I don't think he'll be attacking again anytime soon. So Solitaria able to go for the S3 here. Trying to push the Ed back, I assume. Yeah, there we go. He does have that unbuffable on him, but it doesn't really matter all too much. The Bad Cat Armin gonna go for the S3. Gonna replace that unbuffable with a potential provoke, unless this takes him out, which it does, and down goes the Ed. So double Armin Unicomp is still undefeated. And you know what? I think that is a beautiful way to end off this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more Epic 7 content. And until next time, take care.